My name is Erica Lorraine Spencer, and I remain subject to state surveillance and terrorism by the state of California that is operating a malicious targeting system, which is referred to as federal group stalking and monitoring via communication devices. And it is in violation of federal stalking statute 18 U.S.C. sections 2261A subsections 1 and 2. My website and podcast serve the public good by publishing evidence of the public entity's ceaseless engagement in a pattern of conduct intended to stalk and monitor via communication devices, surveil, harass, and terrorize an American citizen in concert with the people of the state of California. Documentation serves the lawful purposes of wide exposure, federal prosecution, and influencing federal legislation with policies specifically designed to punish, dismantle, and disincentivize an unprecedented targeting system by a public entity that acts in concert with the people of the state in order to criminally place under surveillance and terrorize an American citizen, which is a matter of public corruption in the state of California. Notice: intellectual property theft is particularly egregious and equally unlawful where the sole inventor and creator of the intellectual property is the targeted individual. Erica Lorraine Spencer, subject to the unconstitutional and inhumane government system of gang stalking, otherwise referred to as federal group stalking and monitoring via communication devices, because of which the intellectual property created by the targeted individual, who is, in fact, Erica Lorraine Spencer, as the intellectual property also proves, serves to establish via evidence and expose the existence of criminal surveillance and thus an inherent threat posed by the U.S. government and the civilian population sharing engagement in the unlawful system. Such evidence that includes all of the content created by Erica Lorraine Spencer, images, videos, audio, etc., belongs solely and entirely to Erica Lorraine Spencer only and is necessarily published online in order to protect her life, safety, and liberty as the targeted individual, who is also the intellectual property owner, no less protected from theft procured through targeting by a public entity. Theft of any intellectual property belonging to Erica Lorraine Spencer, which is necessarily committed while she, being both creator and inventor, remains oppressed by the public entity via criminal surveillance, is a criminal and inhumane means of infringement under all circumstances and not protected nor enforceable pursuant to any invalid or fraudulent acts of copyright, trademarks, patents, etc., including as it pertains to any ideas associated with or generated from the intellectual property or the intellectual property owner, Erica Lorraine Spencer, whether creative, business, or otherwise, nor does the intellectual property owner consent to any such means of infringement and theft. Erica Lorraine Spencer here. The following is an audio version of video evidence that is captured for purposes of mass distribution, which is why I am capturing it and sharing it on the podcast for evidentiary purposes and also to reveal the wealth of documentation that extends beyond what it is that I document on podcasts. Much of the video and images will be published onto the YouTube channel, the P.O.C, and it is also shared on the Google Drive. Again, this is for purposes of revealing what I remain subject to, which is federal group stalking and monitoring. It is a demonic system of state surveillance that the government is practicing in concert with the people of the state, and it should be known and well understood that for the government to engage in federal group stalking and monitoring, this is a crime that is committed with a criminal purpose to threaten the life of an American citizen. This is to conspire to murder and or permanently kidnap an American citizen while engaging in a perpetual sex offense in concert with the people of the state. All right, license plate 8 BAF 808. This is criminal summoning with the people of the state. So you need to understand, when Los Angeles is sounding their sirens and they're running over someone in the middle of the street, that's an act of murder by the entity, and they're all demons. It's premeditated murder. 8NKH860 is monitoring with the Ontario Police that are sounding sirens of the fire department as I start recording. They're monitoring together with children, 6FYR398, 9PAK183,
8DDY287. The Ontario Fire Department is sharing in criminal summoning while the Ontario Police are engaged in criminal summoning right here. This is P.O.C. License plate 8DDY287, 8ZRM544, 8DVR370. This is psychopathic pacing. License plate 7BGN504. License 9FSG162. I just want to be clear, this is federal prison, by the way. And this is the same iteration where the entity engages in murder. 9HSN916, because this is what LAPD was engaging in. Turning on their sirens to then run someone over in the middle of the street. They know exactly where you're at. It's monitoring. This is monitoring with the people of the state. 9VHT701. And I'm also going to document, this is criminal summoning. This is the same venue where the entity has the fake sunrise and the impossible light activity that's appearing on this house. This is the same venue, and I'll attach that video because this is light activity, relevant positioning, and audible activity while the demon possessed are monitoring with the state that's using sirens. Vehicle 1103, and that's license 167961, federal prison, P.O.C. Monitoring with the fire department. 1223114, sharing in the elements of monitoring together. The entity having a tow truck here moments earlier. The fire truck is repeating what is that same method of light activity, and this is psychopathic pacing. This is the same venue where I showed you impossible light activity was appearing on these demons' homes who are monitoring right now as well. They're engaging in the pattern of conduct while the entity has impossible light, my shadow manifesting in the shade, while the entity is stalking by commercial planes. This is the same venue at D Street where the entity has the airport stalking me in this neighborhood, flying over, and also the fake sun in the afternoon. I'll attach those videos. It's currently 7:30 a.m. I want to be clear, this demon over here is going to prison. He's monitoring with the people of the state. Criminal summoning is where the entity is engaging what is the criminal pattern of conduct under the guise of demons that are monitoring, that want to appear as though they're engaging in some execution of the duties of an officer. Criminal summoning is where psychological torture, terrorism, harassment, monitoring by demons, stalking, conspicuous stalking, threatening conduct, and theft and defamation, amongst other things, is underway by a terrorist organization like the Ontario Police. This is the same exact venue where I'm capturing that, so I'll let you know, because this is another iteration of the same criminal pattern of conduct. This is license again, 697641, monitoring with the City of Ontario and the people of the state who are sharing in the criminal pattern of conduct together. And they're doing so while they are monitoring me as I'm walking through the neighborhood. This is light activity by the demons themselves that are stalking by helicopter. What do you think? This is the pattern of conduct. All they're doing is monitoring with the same neighborhood that I'm documenting on an ongoing basis, stalking through the neighborhood with the airport, stalking through the neighborhood with the helicopter activity like I'm documenting. And this is that pattern of conduct. I just want to get over 3 minutes because on YouTube I can attach multiple videos. I will be reminding you about this impossible light activity. This demon's going to prison. And the people of the state also, this third-party license plate, sharing in what is peculiarized light. License EC09J14, 7PUP179. These are the demons around. I documented them, and I'll be prosecuting with regard to what is criminal summoning, which is a threat to your life. Criminal summoning is a tactic for kidnapping by the Ontario Police. Criminal summoning is exposing what is the public corruption underway in cons with the people of the state. And this is giving you a bigger context. The investigation is showing what LAPD is actually engaging in when they're sounding their sirens and they are hitting someone in the middle of the street, claiming that they are in the midst of an emergency and that they didn't know that someone was there, and also that they're not liable because of the virtue of the sirens. The entity is engaging what is criminal sirens as monitoring with the people of the state who are engaged in what is committing murder together. This is understanding the significance of what is criminal summoning. It's not an accident, and it's premeditated murder pursuant to knowledge about who you are and where you are. 7DXE552, that's an Asian male, a potential deportee. This is P.O.C. It is currently 7:33 a.m. at what is 425 D Street. No, Vine Avenue. 425 Vine Avenue. And this is the D Street venue where the entity is indeed stalking. Just want you to see that. Because they're acting like they're landing last night at the 537 North Euclid Avenue. There's no landing over here. This is the entity that's targeting. He is going to prison. That's another demon going to prison, and he's monitoring with the airport that's hovering over here. There's no takeoffs or any. There's also no sunrise that's going to create my shadow on this house. There's no sun that will be rising over this house. There's also no sun that would still be over this house, as I've documented, in the middle of the afternoon, where the entity is monitoring with the people of the state, including the airport. It is currently 7:33 a.m. where the entity is stalking with the Ontario International Airport. That's UPS. the entity that's engaging what is committing murder in Kentucky. This is P.O.C. It is currently 8:01 a.m. The entity is monitoring inside of the bathroom. The entity is maintaining loud, harassing, audible noise inside of the bathroom. This is a sex offense committed by Coin Laundry and the third party operating the laundry room. His license plate is 8 Zebra Uncle Thomas 189. This is very demonic, and the Ontario Police and the Ontario Fire and the Ontario International Airport maintaining criminal surveillance are doing so with regard to the neighborhood that's monitoring as I walk through, including at this Coin Laundry. And this is also relevant to what is deportation. The entity's engaging in the pattern of conduct in a bathroom, and the noise that you hear, the moment that I press record, it goes from sounding as though someone's brakes are screeching to ceasing that loud noise with the moment that I press record. This is called stalking with activity. It's relevant to criminal monitoring. It's relevant to knowledge that you're being documented, monitoring someone. This is what the Ontario Fire Department did on video. The moment that I start recording, that's when the demons sounded their sirens of that fire truck, as they then just drove past the scene with regard to monitoring with the Ontario Police and the people of the state and the Ontario International Airport. This is sexual violence while monitoring is underway in the bathroom. And this is the Coin Laundry that I've documented the sunrise and the sunset as well. It is currently 8:03 a.m. It's Friday, November 21st, 2025. I just want to be clear. The Coin Laundry is a venue where a lot of the Hispanic community comes here and they're engaging in terrorism. So this is relevant to what is, again, raids. This is relevant to the impunity, relevant to what is hatred of this community that is targeting me, and also doing so with regard to hatred for this country while they're engaging in the pattern of conduct, and they're doing so in the face of evidence that's going to serve them the basis of a permanent revocation of citizenship in this country. And the gang stalking deportees, they do not care. I just want to be clear on that. They've stated very clearly, as my evidence shows, that they do not wish to remain a part of the United States. They do not wish to remain a part of this country or a part of what this country is about, and that is law and order and not terrorism, which the immigrants are engaging in, including those that are engaging in the pattern of conduct. It includes the City of Ontario, the dumpster truck, it's light activity. It includes Ontario Montclair School District, stalking, light activity, doing so while a demon just engages in what is standing in surveillance by standing in front of the dryer, like it is surveillance at the library, holding a book. And then putting clothes in the whatever this container this demon has, to then just sit in front of the laundry room aiming light. Stalking in the path, monitoring with the entity. It's surveillance while he's inside of the venue. It's surveillance while he then gets into his vehicle. CTS is the label, and I took a picture of it already. And then this is a demon. This is mental illness that then begins engaging what is surveillance by aiming light onto the venue, stalking in the path, and doing so on behalf of the City of Ontario that is stalking at the D Street and Vine Avenue intersection, where again there is video documentation referring to history of targeting by the neighborhood. The entirety of the City of Ontario population is what is represented, while a neighborhood is gang stalking you. Doing so proven under the fake sun. It's currently, like I stated, 8:05 a.m. This is bathroom monitoring. That's terrorism, and it's psychotic. It's relevant to the mental illness, the entity that's engaging in what is the behavioral patterns through inanimate objects. And as I've shown, and as I've documented, and as I've explained before, the environment that surrounds is not a natural environment. Okay, so while you're looking at and while you hear plane activity and you see a plane, the activity that you hear is separate from the plane that you see. These are demons who are stalking. This is the demon possessed that are engaging in what is demonic activity, while they are seeking to present as normal, sane people that look like you and I. These are the demon possessed, and they're engaged in what is ongoing witchcraft. Okay, so this is an illusion regarding what you're hearing. You can actually hear it. It's actually occurring. That's why I'm capturing it. but it's not caused by what the demon-possessed are presenting to you. It's amplified plane activity that occurs when there's no plane in the sky around. It's impossible light activity that occurs when there's no vehicle driving by me. It's impossible light activity that occurs when no, for example, same things, a vehicle is driving underneath, which is never going to create that light activity in the first place. But it's occurring in the absence of the demon-possessed seeking to provide an explanation where there are no explanation in the first place. It's demonic activity, okay? This is the reality of Satan, that's a spirit. The demonic environment is testifying to the reality of Satan, who is a spirit, and also the demon-possessed and the pattern of conduct, which is demonic, is speaking to the reality of Satan, that is a spirit. He's using the people, and he's using the environment with regard to what is monitoring. Monitoring is demonic. The Ontario Police Department are demon-possessed. They're engaging in demonic activity, okay? And they're doing so while they are engaging in surveillance. As you are prosecuting a government, that government is acting with a population that are not in the shoes of any private citizen. They're in the shoes of the state. They are a public entity. And they're also engaging in this while they are classified, for example, as immigrants. Those that are engaging in this gang violence with the government that's engaging in what is domestic terrorism are going to be deported. All right, and that's how you get to analysis with regard to what I'm subject to at any location, including this coin laundry, where the entity is engaging in terrorism in the bathroom in order to monitor. Monitoring in a bathroom, stalking in a bathroom is exceedingly sexually violent, perverted, and predatory conduct by the government. This is P.O.C. It's 8:07 a.m. It is currently 9:45 a.m. Pursuant to the perpetual sex offense of criminal surveillance in the bathroom, I am going to go ahead and include the coin laundry operator. Again, his license plate is 8 Zebra Uncle Thomas 189, a Honda Silver, a silver Honda van. He's a Latino male, gang stalking with 2 Latino males that are maintaining relevant positioning. They're pacing outside of the bathroom door inside of the coin laundry, where the entity is maintaining light activity, stalking as a population while I'm inside of the coin laundry, while I'm inside of the restroom of the coin laundry. This third party engaging in what is a sexually violent threat, an act of violence, which is terrorizing. This is what they're doing, like I documented at Stater Brothers, while they're monitoring in the bathroom, breaking in, which is activity creation, and it's also a terrorizing threat to the targeted individual. This is, like I stated then, at Stater Brothers that engage that, and then I walk outside and the entity stalking by the Ontario International Airport, engaging in that conduct, harassing you and threatening you as though they're going to break in and sexually violate you in the bathroom where they're already stalking you. And they're in doing so with the government that is also stalking you at that venue as well. They're doing it on behalf of the government. This is all on behalf of Mike LORENZ and that agency that is stalking from place to place. This is what Starbucks at 706 West Holt Boulevard heavily engaged in as well with regard to harassment while they're being sex offenders monitoring genitalia in a bathroom space. This is what coin laundry is engaging in. And this, again, laundromat operator is doing so while he is monitoring me as a population and as one that is subject to deportation as well. License 8 Zebra Uncle Thomas 189. These sex offenders are in positions with their communication devices in hand, is what you'll also recognize in the images. This is P.O.C. It's currently 9:47 a.m. and this seeking to break into the bathroom while it exposes the fact that it's occupied. While he is one that works at the venue, he is one that provides access to the patrons, so he knows, first of all, he's a demon that's monitoring. They all know that I'm in here. Second of all, the entity is engaging in what is an implausible means of seeking to deny that based on the facts that they have at their reach, which is, you can clearly see on the bathroom that it's occupied. It's locked, and on the outside it has a red label that would state occupied. This is what Starbucks did as well, having a clearly labeled sign that says occupied, and you're breaking into the bathroom. Of course, they're doing it in engineer light. They're doing it under the fake sun. They're doing it where the government is keeping me under surveillance in the bathroom through sex offenders who are the people of the state, and they're doing it while they are hostile demons as I'm documenting them sexually violating an American citizen in the way in which the people of the state do. This is occurring at 9:40 a.m. Bathroom monitoring and seeking to break into that bathroom. That's a sex offender that's seeking to engage in some method of harm while they're trying to break in. It's activity creation, but you are understanding the position of the ordinary target individual when they're stalking you, chasing you down, harassing you, and engaging in what is all manner of violence against you, and also trying to break into the bathroom when you're in that private space. P.O.C. It's 9:48 a.m. this is the very highly unintelligent stalking conduct by the admission of the Ontario International Airport. They're engaging in this with the Ontario Police Department at the intersection of D and Vine. They are stalking as an airport, and this is mental illness while stalking is underway. While they don't address you, they don't talk to you. They engage in conduct that is maintaining what is activity creation. Okay, this is the entity. Southwest Airlines is stalking by flying over the coin laundry where I'm coming from, where they're maintaining surveillance in the bathroom. And so is Stater Brothers, this entire entity. And there's no takeoffs over the coin laundry inside of this Ontario Village shopping center either. Neither is the airport right here where they're hovering in the sky space, just like they were on Euclid Avenue last night, just like they were this morning where the Ontario police engaged in criminal summoning. This is P.O.C. Those are the gang stalkers in the city of Ontario. Alrighty, and they're monitoring with the airport just like they were monitoring with the police department, and this is demon possession, just so that you know. And they're doing so under what is this fake sun right here. Creation is engaged in what is activity creation together as one in their vision and surveillance operation of their communication devices while the entities engage in that. I just want to be clear, the entities engage in this while they participate in vagina monitoring as a population. Sex offenders are not merely individuals, they're communities, they're public entities. Okay, this is a sex offender, and so is the company, Stater Brothers. Okay, P.O.C. is currently, the current time is, what time is that? 10:08 a.m. P.O.C. For DNV008. Again, that's 4DNV008. Stalking with the rest of the people of the state and the Ontario International Airport at Vine and Vesta. P.O.C. It is 10:35 a.m. where the fake sun's over Vine and Vesta, and it is not over the United States Postal Service like I documented at 10:24 in the morning, where the population is stalking with the airport. And it's also not over the OVITT Family Community Library like I documented at 10 a.m. and 10:40 a.m., comparing also to the United States Postal Service, where the entity is stalking as a city, doing so with regard to what is exposing mental illness, because the government is fully aware that they are proven as terrorists, and what's going to happen also regarding the prosecution of terrorists, including deporting them. The entities engaged in this, I want to be clear, David Quinones is going out of his way to share in what is gang stalking me at register number 1, I believe. It's captured in images. This is the population 7SQJ111 that's inside of that grocery store gang stalking me in furtherance of murder with David Quinones. Not the first store manager conspiring murder with Stater Brothers. 7XJR802, P.O.C. Stalking in the neighborhood is the federal raids of the neighborhoods, the deportation from the terrorists that are remaining in the neighborhood where the government's maintaining surveillance where they remain as the fake sun remains over me through this neighborhood. P.O.C. It's 10:36. Let me give you United States Postal Service. You already know that they're gang stalking. This is P.O.C. It's the United States Postal Service has been engaged in years of targeting and furtherance of murder as well. P.O.C. 9TUA390, 4NLL334, 00825P1, 8JQL664, 1DRAGNA, 8ZRA938. And the fake sun's over me, by the way, at what is Fern Avenue and C Street. So I'll show you where the people of the state are engaging in surveillance. Just like they were this morning, the fake sun documentation is letting you know what is the condition of the Ontario Police, the condition of the Ontario Fire Department, the condition of the people of the state, the condition of the Ontario International Airport pilots who are gang stalking. They're demons. And the entity was engaged in what is stalking with light, just like the neighborhood is now. This is the same neighborhood that now I'm walking back toward the town square area. They're stalking with light while the Ontario Police, Ontario Fire maintain light activity. It's demonic. And they have some sort of car collision in the neighborhood. So this is the entity that engaged in what is a slow motion collision that calls for the presence of the police. This is an entity that's parked on the sidewalk, and you have that what is the circumstances that are necessitating the presence of the police department, where that population and that police department are engaged in monitoring together. That's criminal summoning. And the entity did so under the guise of a collision outside of someone's home. And the collision, as you could see it, this is the video that's going to be published that you already listened to. The collision is that which is occurring outside. So It's just curious what speed limit that collision occurred at while it was occurring outside of the home on the sidewalk where it's heavily crowded with vehicles, okay? Not coincidentally where the fake sun is documented rising and following me as I walk to the same venue where I did this morning where David Quinones is participating in gang stalking because he's aware the fact that he's been specifically documented, and while he engages in that communication of a threat, the civil and criminal prosecution of him and Stater Brothers in concert with the rest of the government is noting that, all right? It's currently 10:41 a.m. This is P.O.C. The entity has the fake sun over 325 West C Street. And it's not over the OVITT Family Community Library where I'm capturing video at 10:40 a.m., where the entity has the fake sun out the side of the Bethel Congregation Church as well at 10:40 a.m., where that airport that's acting like it's landing right at the Ontario Village Shopping Center, very highly unintelligent, but so are the demon-possessed, period, and so is the domestic terrorist Southwest Airlines. It's not an intelligent company. They're a demonic company, a corrupt company. The entity is engaging what is stalking by flying outside of the side entrance of Bethel Congregation, where there's also no planes taking off and there's no landing back there either. And there's also not multiple airports in Ontario. There's only one. License 8JQL664, stalking. Doing so at 325 West C Street. C as in Charlie. P.O.C. 8MAR028. The fake sun's over me on this street, by the way, bigger picture. The Ontario Police engaging criminal summoning as I'm documenting during the 6 a.m. hour. That's on this street. I'm documenting them engaged in what is the pattern of conduct, police training July 14, 2025. That's at 7:15 in the morning. This is the same street. I'm documenting the entity that is gang stalking under the fake sun on this same street at 7 a.m. at the Downtown Ontario Luxury Apartment C Street in Euclid. This is the same street. It's 10:40. Let me see. 10:42 a.m. This is outside of daylight savings time. So this will be 11:42 when I'm capturing all those aforesaid timestamps regarding stalking by this neighborhood that's fully exposed to what is a raid, while the government is gang stalking with the people of the state where they live, and engaging criminal summoning where they live as with regard to what is a car collision, an unnecessarily slow motion car collision where the fire department sounds their sirens driving by it, okay? P.O.C. It is currently 10:43 a.m. 1505917. 1509517. That's a California exempt all-black SUV. The City of Ontario gang stalking using unmarked vehicles, doing so with license 9MVZ920. The demons that are engaging in surveillance along C Street, stalking with the entity, 9TBV836, 51PH3, 8CTR466, 9BGW370, JAYCHOR. This is surveillance with the government that is engaging in gang stalking using California exempt plates. That's the entity that is gang stalking and doing so as the government that I've been documenting for years, engaging in that. Doing so also in the traditional Crown Royals, California exempt plates, the SUVs, the Tahoes, Pomona Police in particular, engage in very creepy, stalkerish behavior, doing so in these unmarked police vehicles, stalking me, doing so, and they are engaged in that pattern of conduct in Ontario as well. Clearly, the fake sun's not over the OVITT Family Community Library. All these license plates are stalking as a population, pacing all around me is what the demon-possessed are actually doing. This is mental illness. While they're stalking me has already been proven. They're demons and all they're doing is pacing. They pace with regard to the creation and presence of engineered light. This is demonic activity. They're not even normal people. They're certainly not sane. And they're engaging in what is witchcraft as I'm exposing that to you. Corrupt law enforcement that are engaged in criminal surveillance, they're engaged in witchcraft. They're going to be prosecuted and mentally assessed. P.O.C. You have a crowd of demons coming on what is Euclid Avenue. License plate 7FBH528. License 45644U1. UPS gang stalking again. 4JPS045. 9ATY848. 5BLM262. 8KVP386. 9PIU583. 8E or 8FOH717. 9RJJ511. 58758 Edward 4, UW367 Handicap, 7KEY 448, 5SVA 498, 8TZP 680, 73566H3, P.O.C. It's currently 10:50 a.m. C499RI, that's a red Tesla, 8TJL399, 9GBT885, in case I didn't read that one already, 58KU084. Wells Fargo is gang stalking. Wells Fargo located at 240 North Euclid Avenue. There's no sun over Wells Fargo while I'm at the Stater Brothers showing you that David Quinones is a co-conspirator of murder and facilitating that massive company's engagement in gang stalking with the city of Ontario, doing so as a documented pattern by those in position as quote-unquote store managers, and they're engaging in this criminal system, and you're going to be prosecuted for that. This is the entity that's engaging in that together. It's 10:51 a.m. where the entity's engaged in criminal summoning just like they were this morning. All right, under a fake sun, they're not doing anything other than practicing witchcraft, okay? And that was witchcraft what that LAPD was engaging in while they would like to feign ignorance. And they're not ignorant, they're engaging in what is actually honing in, acting, targeting someone while they're sounding their sirens and then running over somebody on a skateboard in the middle of the road. The people of the state are demons that are monitoring, and so are the LAPD, just like the city of Ontario is showing you how their criminal system operates while they practice witchcraft. 9EDK615, criminal summoning. The entity engages in murder together. 6TBV836, criminal summoning. You're being deported for criminal summoning. License plate. Those are the same demons that were stalking on Vine and D Street this morning with the Ontario Police. 8XO7700, criminal summoning. License 8TJL399, criminal summoning. And Wells Fargo, 240 North Euclid Avenue, criminal summoning. Every employee, everybody in there is engaging in what is criminal summoning. License plate, GSAUCE, criminal summoning. And that's what's behind the LAPD, by the way, demons, documented terrorists, okay, stalking me, monitoring me under a fake sun. They practice witchcraft. They sound their sirens with regard to me being at Alvarado Gardens under the fake sun, monitoring what I'm saying and doing. And that's what they're doing when they ran over that young man in the middle of the street on a skateboard. Okay? The LAPD isn't investigating anything. The LAPD is a serial killing entity. Okay, they're engaged in surveillance. They're practicing witchcraft, and those sirens are audible activity, light activity, relevant positioning before they committed murder, premeditated murder. 84794U3. And that criminal summoning system is what is putting the demons of the Ontario Police that were engaged in criminal summoning at Vine and D Street, they're going to prison. That's the same criminal pattern of conduct that they do so in concert with gang stalking demons that fling light, like this gargoyle, white male, coming out of the downtown Ontario luxury apartments. This gargoyle is licensed 9PJF306, criminal summoning. Okay, and so is the OVITT Family Community Library, the Ontario City Hall, the Ontario Fire Department, the demons sounding the sirens on that fire truck, and that facilitating venue is also in the same plaza. It is engaged in criminal summoning. The 280 North Limit Apartments, criminal summoning. The Downtown Ontario Luxury Apartments, the Metro 102 Apartments, Omnitrans, the demons that are pacing around in traffic. The entity engages in a massive act of facilitation. LAPD engaged in what is premeditated murder pursuant to a pattern of conduct that I've already proven in LA, and I'm still proving it because LAPD is never in the natural environment where the OVITT Family Community Library were gargoyles like the demons inside of that venue, keeping me under surveillance under a fake sun rising and setting. LAPD is already surrounded with regard to engaging in the system. They committed premeditated murder. It's the P.O.C. 9SJZ304, P.O.C. And they are severely mentally ill. Your ability to understand and witness their mental illness is the entity that is stalking me in commercial planes. Okay, that's the mental illness analogous to digging in your underwear and eating your feces. That's what committed murder and calling itself LAPD. It's Satan. Satan is absurdly psychotic, and Satan is engaging in what is the use of people and is the use of an environment to keep me under surveillance, and I'm prosecuting Satan. I'm also going to have Satan put in facilities. I'm also going to have Satan deported. License plate. 80235 Sam3. Quick Toe is a gang stalking company, just like Stater Brothers. David Quinones, you'll see his images. Gang stalking. And doing so, wanting to communicate a personalized threat while you're monitoring David Quinones, you can go to federal prison. We can get real personal if you want to. This is P.O.C. It's currently, by the way, while that airport is following me from Stater Brothers to the OVITT Family Community Library, David Quinones is gang stalking with impunity.
Okay, P.O.C. It's currently 10:55 a.m. All right, the mentally ill pacing back and forth across the room. They're all in engineer light, and they all engage in criminal summoning too. And they're all doing so under a fake sun that wasn't already over the venue. This is mental illness that is shared by population, and this is the sex offender that is a community, that is an entity, not an individual. And they're going to be subject to all manner of federal law with regard to the prosecution and the disincentivizing of terrorism in the U.S. with the government. One of the largest, most powerful tools is deportation. Okay, that will disincentivize when you are no longer permitted to be in this country. It's currently 10:59 a.m. This is psychopathic pacing, while the entity concentrates the P.O.C. inside of the venue, where the fake sun is over an entirely different location, speaking to what they're doing when I am here. Yes. Okay, thank you. 11:30? Okay. Thank you, ma'am. Alrighty, what is published onto the Google Drive is the gang stalker that's engaging in surveillance at the entrance of the library at 9:02 p.m., where the entity is engaged in molesting with impossible light, and doing so while a demon is standing on the side, maintaining presence, doing so while they are stalking as the airport, that same airport that's ducking and dodging as though they're landing somewhere, and it's not as though they're landing. They're engaged in psychopathic stalking that everybody is looking at. They're going into mental asylums in prison. Those are the demons that are stalking with planes. But the entities engage in this with the people of the state. So that's the purpose of looking at what is the absurdity of the stalking conduct by the demon possessed. They're doing so, and these are the demons that are stalking inside of the venue, sitting around on computers, engaging in surveillance. These are the demons that are sitting around flashing light, trying to cover up their faces while they are monitoring evidence, speaking to mental illness as well, while you're stalking somebody, and you're stalking somebody that's documenting it, and then you're still stalking, so consumed and invested in stalking, I'm going to keep stalking and I'm just going to cover up my face. Those are the light-slinging gargoyles, okay? And that's what you're going to immediately deport out of the country as well. Okay, that's what's trying to break into a bathroom. That's what's stalking in planes and helicopters. That's what's stalking, engaging in things such as criminal summoning with regard to a car collision that would have necessarily happened in slow motion in the neighborhood that's overpacked with vehicles on the sidewalk. That's getting to desperation. That's the desperation of the demon possessed. This is demonic activity, and these are demons. And as I've already shown you, as the evidence shows, the demon possessed, Satan, is not intelligent. Satan is desperate, and there's a difference, and that's why the P.O.C. is able to show so clearly and conclusively what is the appropriate place of residence regarding mental illness, and it is the demon possessed. The entity engaging in what is defaming American citizens while they are projecting what they know very well is a demented mind state, while they target as a whole population, a population of sex offenders, a population of stalkers, a population of serial killers, pedophiles, okay, a population of the severely deranged, okay, and that's what's concentrated inside of the OVITT Family Community Library, pacing from door to door, pacing across, just stalking, and it's absurdly demented, absurd, okay? They like to dress up and hide behind titles and get jobs and refer to themselves this way and esteem themselves as that way. They're a bunch of light-slinging gargoyles. That's it. They're obsessed with my vagina. They're a bunch of demons. And it's all demonic activity. They're being exposed as mentally ill. They're being exposed as criminal. They're being exposed as corrupt while the government is acting with the population. P.O.C. It's 11:03 a.m. at the OVITT Family Community Library. It's currently 11:36 a.m. This is documentation of the entity that includes Jason Isaac Fields, Mike LORENZ, the gang stalkers that are still conspiring murder and targeting with the people of the state. On YouTube, marking my published evidence, this is interfering with an ongoing investigation which Jason Fields has been doing for years. He's going to prison for obstruction of justice in addition to conspiring my murder and stealing from me. Remember, stealing from me is it is in furtherance of murdering me. It's no ordinary theft in the same way that the perpetual sex offense is no ordinary sex offense, okay? This is relevant to what is federal prison as well. That's the reason behind defaming, behind your economic status. When they are the entity that's targeting you is creating that economic status, then defaming you by it, and in order to steal from you. And this is where the entity has intended your demise. This is what Jason Fields is a part of. While they're monitoring inside of the OVITT Family Community Library, doing so with the government that's following to the venue and maintaining surveillance in the venue, they're doing so while the YouTube video is made, the podcast been made private and not by myself. This is after publishing it. This is relevant to those that are going to prison. It includes Mike LORENZ. It includes the kidnappers inside of this OVITT Family Community Library. It includes Jason Fields and Tracy Banks, etc. It's 11:37 a.m. That's a criminal act of obstruction, which is a threat to an American citizen. These demons are sitting around stalking an impossible light, pacing in and out of doorways as employees, gang stalking, obsessively stalking on behalf of the state, and then also interfering with the published evidence at the same time. This is prison. It's 11:38 a.m. This is P.O.C. You do have a card.
Yeah.
What's your position again?
A veterans career coach, but but I'm moving over to a different company Tuesday. So there'll be somebody else that's going to be replacing me here. But basically there'll be veterans career coaches, military veterans career coaches.
Thank you.
You got it.
Okay, the mentally ill includes the so-called career coach. He is highly unstable, and so are the demon-possessed so-called veterans that are associated with Michael Salas. This demon's down here stalking with noise, speaking with regard to monitoring me, doing so in Engineer Light where his seating area is. He's a demon. He's very highly unstable, and so is Yesenia. So is the demon that's sitting there engaging in surveillance with her, speaking in relevant position. They're talking, they're monitoring. What the focus is this podcast from November 20, 2025 that the entity rendered private on YouTube, which I republished. It remains published on my website, by the way, the P.O.C. Transistor, that's the transistor.fm website that is showing my podcast. But my podcast website is this is the P.O.C. podcast.transistor.com, where it's never removed, like the entity that's consumed with YouTube. It's all over the internet. These demons are pacing around inside of the OVITT Family Community Library in Engineer Light, and they're engaged in what is criminal surveillance under Title 18. And this is relevant to what the demon possessed, by the way, were doing on video with the Ontario Police at D Street and Vine, with the fire department, the airport, and the police department, and the people of the state. They're engaged in surveillance. They're engaged in federal stalking, doing so on communication devices. So these demons are engaged in what is stalking with ongoing loud noise. This is supposedly the quiet area, loud booming occurring in here. Now, when I'm upstairs and the demons are circulating me, surrounding me, sitting at the computers 2, 3, and 4, for example, they're engaged in demonic activity. Nothing that you're doing when you're pushing the chair in, when you put your elbow on the desk, that's not going to jerk the table into my stomach. This is a battery that is being committed repeatedly, systematically on behalf of Michael Lorenz. Okay, these are demons that are engaging in battery, demons that are engaging in stalking, demons that are engaging in what is criminal surveillance, harassment, and ongoing federal stalking on behalf of Mike Lorenz. They're doing so while the entity is creating activity which is slowing down the upload of the internet. Okay, it's mental illness. This is mental illness while they engage in their pattern of conduct. I break it down for you. I publish the evidence of them stalking while they're engaging in their criminal pattern of conduct, and it is the evidence that's going to have the mentally ill that are demon-possessed deported, imprisoned, and also labeled appropriately as terrorists in this country. This is P.O.C. The OVITT Family Community Library is engaging in this, and this is the entity that's engaging in what is this pattern of conduct while they are interfering with an ongoing investigation about their conspiracy to murder someone. That's also relevant to the severe mental illness of the demon-possessed. P.O.C. It's 12:42 p.m. Alrighty, so these are the cockroaches, and they are stalking in the book stack, including again. She already has a lamp. Okay, this is why you don't. This is relevant to understanding and recognizing Satan. Satan is using somebody that already can't walk in a healthy manner. She's limping, monitoring me in doing so, using all of her what is already physical incapacities to gang stalk and further into murder. This is an entity, and I'm referring to Yesenia. She's engaging in criminal activity, doing so with impunity, doing so while she hobbles and limps in engineer light to monitor me. You would think that she would be concerned with the fact that she cannot walk correctly or walk in a 100% healthy manner with regard to trying to gang stalk somebody that's documenting it. She's going to be limping in prison. That's the bottom line. She's doing so while the cockroaches are filling the bottom floor while the podcast is being published. And guess what? The podcast is going to be published. The podcast is always published. In fact, while the entity engages in any means of seeking to interfere with that, like the demon with the bad weave, I believe her name is... Oh, well, there are a lot of them that I've encountered, but this one in particular, that's engaging in, oh goodness, I'm looking at what is limping and monitoring, but this one in particular is engaging in, I'm speaking right now, what's her name, Tamika? Something forgettable. Hi, Dylan, how's it going? And he's a part of the pacing as well. That's Securitas. These are cockroaches. Benjamin coming and saying hi, cockroach. Yesenia, who is has a limp, okay, and is engaging in limping and looks like she's going to fall into the book stacks while she's trying to monitor me. These are cockroaches that are pacing. They're doing so while the entity is going to monitor. This is their mental illness. They engage in the same cycle, and the same result always occurs, publishing all the evidence. This is why, however, why Michael Lorenz is being removed. He is a cockroach, okay? This isn't a man. This is a demon who is obsessive with regard to what is witchcraft that doesn't work against me. So all the cockroaches are shown as the infestation that's in need of a serious raid. And that's also what's coming. Okay, whether you are already handicapped, whether you are, and by handicapped I mean physically handicapped, because Yesenia is not going to be treated any different. If Yesenia is not a natural born citizen, then you're just going to deport the handicapped that are engaging in federal group stalking and monitoring. And that's what you're learning and gaining from somebody that can't even walk upright, that's trying to gang stalk me in the library. The entities engaging in this P.O.C., and there is no exception to that pattern of conduct, including the mentally ill that are under the age of majority. They have their gang stalking children monitoring, exhibiting mental illness, same demon possession, same corporate engagement in that pattern of conduct. It's currently 12:47 p.m. And the reason why I detail this is because I'm showing how pathetic Satan is. pathetic that with regard to the entity that is using all manner of your police department is stalking me, and I've surrounded this police department with evidence that it's no police department, that in fact it's obsessed with my vagina, that it's keeping under surveillance, which is not a legitimate interest of a police department, that is in fact proven to be engaged in what is keeping my genitalia under surveillance with demons that are limping around me like Yesenia, gang stalking and failing at keeping the evidence off the internet, which is going to put them and her in prison. It's currently 12:47 p.m. This is P.O.C. regarding federal stalking, monitoring evidence on the internet, and engaging in harassment in the so-called quiet area of the library, ongoing loud booming noises while they're engaging in what is, this behavioral pattern is underway upstairs as well, where they're engaging in what is an ongoing incessant battery, sensational activity monitoring, pacing all around in and out of the administration door. This is what Michael, Yesenia, John, these demons that are coming in and out of the entrance area. Well, it's not another entrance, but it's another side door, and Lindsay is doing that right now, where they're finding any means with regard to noise creation, pacing, while they're monitoring. Okay, that's the significance of a fake sun. Okay, they're all stalking, pacing, stalking with activity, and engineer light. The entity is engaging in that while inside of a building where the fake sun isn't inside, but the engineer light is inside. That's relevant to what is presence, which is stalking, criminal presence, and activity creation, which is harassment by demons that are stalking you as an entity. This is terrorism. P.O.C. Keep beating on the desk now so they can hear you. Go ahead, get louder. And touch my stuff again, too. That's the OVITT Family Community Library engaging in harassment with the demons inside of the library. Monitoring with Mike Lorenz.
Look, ma'am, I'm gonna let you know this much. Because of my children, is that I'm entitled to be here. Because of the sheriffs, is that I'm entitled to be here. Don't
This is audible activity by demons who are monitoring.
If you kicked out the library, I'm never gonna like you. I'm never gonna look at you the same, okay? It's a lot of stress for me.
Oh, and they were over here monitoring with Simba as well.
If they have an assembly, so what? That's their fucking business. You know, why are you here when you involved?
These demons, these are the mentally ill, and they're very fearful because of everything I'm publishing on the internet. Mike Lorenz is going to prison. This is desperation while their mental illness is coming out of the seams. It's 2:37 p.m. The disruptive environment that OVITT Family Community Library is hosting is OVITT Family Community Library's engagement in maintaining that harassing, disruptive environment while they're working at a library where they're gang stalking. Okay, that's why the patrons are targeting, and they're permitting it. That's why the patrons are beating on the furniture, making loud booming noises. They're monitoring demons, and so are the employees at OVITT. It's 2:38 p.m. That's why it's ongoing and it's being permitted while they're engaged in that POC together. These reptiles are going to prison. You have Lindsay, you have Michael, Alex, Brianna. The entity is Abigail. You already see, monitoring. John. These are the employees that are monitoring with the demons that are sitting around engaging in surveillance in the library with them. And now the demon stops beating on the furniture. This is mental illness, severe mental illness. Oh, we're not so unstable that we keep hitting on the furniture when something might be capturing it, huh? We just like to play crazy when you think nobody is watching. The feds are watching. This is all Sean Thrasher. Be mindful. This is all under Sean Thrasher. He's this entity that's been targeting for years. You're talking about what is federal prison. Alrighty, it's 2:42 p.m. This is documentation of malice regarding the entity that is gang stalking at OVITT Family Community Library, where the fake sun rises and sets, and the mentally ill maintain surveillance in a library, where they're practicing sexual violence and ongoing harassment on behalf of the terrorist organization that is the Ontario Police, who are mentally ill as well. This is 2:42 p.m. This is the malice relevant to what is conspiring murder, and you're doing so while it is being simultaneously published online, where they're also engaging in criminal surveillance. Beating on the furniture is audible activity by a feces eater that's acting as an entity, not just that feces eater by itself, okay? And the feces eaters that work here are monitoring as well. These are the light slingers that are just sitting inside of a building gang stalking. That's all they're doing. P.O.C, it's 2:43 p.m. The ongoing noise maintenance is relevant to hostility. It's relevant to aggression. It's relevant to what is maniacal psychopaths who are going into mental asylums and they're going to prison. Okay, they committed kidnapping. Well, now they're gang stalking. It's being published online, and they're angry about it. They're going to be angry in cells. P.O.C, it's 2:43 p.m. Dylan, can I speak with you for a second? Hi. I just want to let you know, I was downstairs in the, what do you call that? The
Adult study.
The what?
Adult study.
Adult study area. Okay, the quiet area, whatever, the basement, whatever we call it. I was down there and I told Lindsay about it, but they might, I don't know, for whatever reason, they're not too concerned about it, but there's a female down there, short curly hair. She's sitting like in the, you saw where you saw me at the table? She's like in the corner.
Yeah.
You know about it already?
Yeah.
She's being really loud and nobody's doing anything about it. Like, she's beating on the furniture. So I'm telling her, and she touched my stuff too, and I told Lindsay about it. She's just like, well, if she touches your stuff again, then let me know. Well, why is she touching my stuff in the first place? She came behind me and like pulled it out from behind me. So I was like, why are you touching my stuff? And then she's sitting in the corner just making just ongoing illicit noise. So I just want to let you know, because it seemed like none of the employees down there care.
Okay.
It's supposedly the quiet area, and it was very disruptive.
Okay.
So I don't think I should be in a position where I have to like say something to other patrons. That's really awkward, and it's also really harassing what she's doing down there.
Okay.
Okay. I just want to let you know since it's cute. Thanks, Dylan.
see what the message. The little triangle. Okay. I think we're gonna have to trash this and send a new one. Okay. So we'll leave that one. So those are the 5 you need to send, right? All right. Let's hit share. Okay. And then Gmail. Maybe we can save them to your Google Drive here, and then you can pull them up
Excuse
here.
me.
Okay, so let's try that. So let's go back to where the pictures are. Oh, yeah. And then we're gonna. And then let's see. I'm looking for something that tells us to save.
Abigail, do you mind if I grab a disinfectant wipe?
Yeah, there should
They're
be
on the
right there.
desk.
Yeah,
I
go
just
for
want
it.
to let you know.
Okay, you know what? Let's try one at a time. Okay, so share. Let's see what our create outlook. And no, we want to be able to save it. You need all 5. Upload to my drive. Fine. Preparing. We'll see. I think it's good, but we'll see. So, okay. Let's try drive. So, this one is old. This is creating monsters.
All right, this is all activity creation, the beeping. Abigail being helpful with another demon on a computer. There's a communication device where they're centering the instruction and assistance on. It's all monitoring. They do this while they're walking around on engineered light, while the demon possessor engaged in what is stalking with sensational activity. It's P.O.C. It's 2:51 p.m. This is federal stalking and furtherance of murder. Alrighty, the entity is engaged in that together as one and targeting together as well. This is that mental illness centered on a malicious criminal pattern of conduct, and Mike LORENZ is going to prison for it. All right, a whole population that's engaging in it inside of the OVITT Family Community Library. Mental illness is exhibited while they engage in it, and they are committed to what is a role as though they are not engaging in it, as though they're not focused on you, but then at the same time, they're engaging what is arriving out of nowhere, claiming that somebody told them that you were yelling at them, when there was never a conversation, there was never an encounter. You're over here talking like you're not concerned about me, and the fake sun and the engineer light testifies directly opposite of that, but that's understanding the mental illness of the demon possessed that are gang stalking. All right, Abigail's downstairs monitoring with the puppet that's stalking with the loud noise and touching my property before I publish the podcast, which they're all hostile to. These are the gargoyles that are just sitting in the library monitoring now, pacing in and out of the administration door, gang stalking, doing so, psychopaths. This is P.O.C. Don't forget that this particular actor is engaged in criminal summoning at 12:13 p.m. with the Ontario police, who are stalking me day and night, where she's working right now, gang stalking simultaneously. That's called malice. All right? That maniacal psychopathic conduct is relevant to prison and mental asylums. P.O.C. It's currently 2:52 p.m. This is all audible activity on communication devices in the engineered light.
And then you go back to your other window, the one where you want to add your stuff.
Alrighty, I just want you to listen to that. This is where the fake sun rises and sets. It's all monitoring. P.O.C.
Open.
Alrighty, it is 6:03 p.m. Documenting what is gang stalking immigrants engaging in terrorism under the guise of being a pastor at a facilitating venue targeting encounter with the state. The state that is stalking at the BETHEL Congregation Church while they are engaging in what is sexual assault and battery. This is this demon Lee, his monitoring children and his monitoring wife. Doing so while I am in the parking lot. And again, that license plate of these sex offenders engaging in, a family of sex offenders engaging in sexually violating me altogether, monitoring. This is Lee is his name. Calls himself pastor. It's not a real pastor. But this is, again, the entity that's engaging in terrorism, and you're breaking down what is domestic terrorism under the guise of what's a fake church, operating as a church. So with regard to public corruption, you're attending the church, you're going to the church, or you just pass by the church, or the church is in your neighborhood, and they're engaged in federal group stalking and monitoring. The government is maintaining surveillance through that church, which is actually a facilitating venue, not a private property. It's not a legitimate organization, if you will, under the law. It is nothing other than a religious organization because it's not the true Church of Christ Jesus. Okay? Stalking with the City of Ontario, stalking in the sky space, 9NGM468. The entity is stalking in the sky space. I took a picture of that while this family of demons is engaging in what is sexual violence together. And these are potential deportees engaging in the pattern of conduct. The entity is stalking, flying over the church. I'm being molested with impossible light. The entity has the people of the state stalking me in the side alleys as I'm walking down the street. And the gang stalkers of Bethel Congregation are sharing in that ongoing sexual violence, sexual assault and battery. Okay, it's P.O.C. It's 6:04 p.m. The demon possession doesn't stop. It's ongoing P.O.C. This is why the fake church is over, the fake son is over this fake church, as I've documented. And these demons are parking in the parking lot of the fake church, engaging in sexual assault and battery, engaging in demonic behavior, light activity, relevant positioning, in furtherance of murder. That is the Lees. All right, these are, this is the entity that's engaged in that and facilitating, just like David Quinones of Stater Brothers. This demon, Lee, is facilitating that pattern of conduct at a fake church, okay? P.O.C. It's 6:05 p.m. Alrighty, let me go ahead and cite the license plate of the gang stalkers of Bethel Congregation, engaging what is targeting me with the entirety of the City of Ontario. There's no pause with the pattern of conduct. It's not the true church. License 8, Zebra Queen Frank 441. All right. The minor children are also engaging in that sex offense. They also do so while they're monitoring my vagina in the bathroom of the Bethel Congregation venue as well. The fake son outside of the side entrance, the Ontario International Airport, stalking in concert with these demons at a fake church. The entity stalking me as though they're taking off behind the Bethel Congregation. The fake sun rise, the fake sunset. Ongoing terrorism by the Ontario Police Department and the people of the state. This is the venue where the entity engaged in assault with a deadly weapon upon documenting the entity that is threatening my life. All of this at this fake church. This is P.O.C. It is currently 6:07 p.m. Okay.
What are you recording me for? What the fuck
Go
are you
ahead.
recording me for?
You're good. What else are you gonna do?
What are you recording
What else are
me
you gonna
for?
do? And let me go ahead and get your.
What the fuck are you recording
And you're
me for?
rising up on me, ripping
I don't
this.
give a shit, bitch. You're the one
I'm
that
glad.
came up on me first.
No, ain't nobody
You
come up
came
on
up
you.
on me
You're lying.
first.
You're in my face
Bitch,
again.
I don't give a fuck. You came up
You
to
do
my
care.
shit.
You do care.
came
You know what?
You
You're
came
going
up
to
to my
prison.
shit.
You're going to
Going
prison.
to prison.
That's
Bitch, you
EJ.
came up on mine.
You keep touching
You
me.
keep- and
keep
what?
touching me.
And what?
Keep touching me.
Do it. I
Keep touching
fucking
me.
dare you.
With your masculine ass tattoos on your face.
Oh, this dumb bitch.
You're
You see all
going
this
to, no,
right?
your mother's a beat.
Get the
Your
fuck-
mother's a beat.
You get the
Your
fuck
mother's a beat.
Get out of here.
Your mother's
Get
a
out
beat.
of here.
You're going to prison.
Going to
This
prison?
is why Mike Lorenz is
Take
going
me,
to
bitch.
prison.
Take
Assault
me.
with a deadly
Take me,
weapon.
bitch.
Assault
Oh,
with a
yeah,
deadly
you're the one
weapon.
that's holding
This
the
is all
fucking thing.
monitoring. This is all monitoring. You're going to prison.
Good. Take me, bitch.
And so is Chevron. They're
me.
monitoring with her.
Take me, bitch.
This is EJ too.
Get the
If
fuck
you
out of
don't
here,
let
bitch.
go of my shit,
Get out of here,
if you
then.
don't let go of
Get
my
the
shit,
fuck out of
I
here,
don't
bitch.
think so. Alrighty, this is Battery by Ontario Veterinary Hospital.
They're all going to federal prison. This is assault and battery with for Mike Lorenz. These are demons engaging in violence. They're doing so in the name of Ontario Veterinary Hospital. This is a demon. This is an engineer light. This is Satan that's engaging in defamation. She's going to prison. Those double shadows while she's engaging with assault with a deadly weapon, damaging my property, put her hands on me repeatedly over and over again. This is all engineer light. They're going to prison. The demons inside of the Ontario Veterinary are monitoring. She's engaging what is criminal summoning while the police are already monitoring. I documented them crossing path right here. The entity is engaging in what is criminal summoning while the entity is engaging in that pattern of conduct. And she is committing what is assault with a deadly weapon. All right, engaging in what is battery, continuously putting her hands on me. Instead of me choking her out, she's going to prison. She's going to federal prison because this is Satan talking. Oh, you already put your hands on me. This is somebody that thinks that they're a gangster. Well, guess what? Mike Lorenz is going to prison. You're going to federal prison. You're going to federal prison driving around with paper plates, engaging in surveillance, stalking another woman. And this is why they're being deported as well. This is P.O.C. This is the entity. All of this is audible activity. This is criminal defamation. This is a demon. These are the light slingers. These are the vagina monitors. These are the feces eaters engaging in what is battery. She's going to prison. She's going to federal prison. She's going to federal prison. That's the bottom line. She's going to federal prison. This is the entity that's engaging in what is battery. And they're all ganging up around me, focused on me because they're stalking. This is mental illness that is unchecked, okay? This is the entity. She took my phone. You saw that previous video? Mike Lorenz is going to prison for this. Jason Fields is going to prison for this. This is what the entity is stalking as an airport for. These fake Christians back here are monitoring with this demon that's aiming light while they're molesting in the parking lot. This is that pattern of conduct. The entity is stalking by plane and helicopter, and she's engaging what is used of her communication device. The Ontario police engage in criminal summoning, coming to engage in what is any sort of arrival while they commit battery in the name of the Ontario police. And they're all three going to prison. I just want to be clear on that. That's the pattern of conduct, and they're engaging in what is battery. While this demon feels like she's enlightened, I'm not going to stomp her face out because she's going to federal prison. I want you to see them engage in. I want you to see them engage in violence. I want you to see them engage in what is vocalizing threats. I want you to see the entity that is stalking pursuant to this violence. They're going to federal prison. You're not going to anywhere but federal prison. Assault with a deadly weapon on behalf of the state, federal prison. Criminal defamation on behalf of the state. So while they're in the engineered environment, these are the demons that are stalking under a fake sun, and they have to tell each other. These are demon-possessed psychopaths. Stalking, okay? Engaging in what is ongoing violence and then hugging it out. This is P.O.C. I want to be clear, Ontario Veterinary, that violence, the Ontario Veterinary Hospital is sharing in that. They're all monitoring to that violence. They're engaged in that pattern of conduct together, walking out of the veterinary hospital as well, walking out of it, monitoring. Doing so on behalf of the city that's gang stalking, 8XBF 896. This is all impossible light activity. All right, this is the entity that's engaging with its battery. I want you to see that because this is the entity that's engaging in that. This is exactly what I'm talking about, why Mike Lorenz is going to prison. This is a demon. This is why they're emboldened. You engage in violence, and then you're engaging what is criminal summoning. You're calling the demons that are gang stalking by helicopter. No, you're going to federal prison. Mike Lorenz is going to prison for the violence that she just engaged in. License Edward James 22M84, engaging in defamation, engaging in what is a graphic violence regarding threatening harm, and then also engaging in what is a battery. Doing so as a monitoring entity. They're all at the CHEVRON monitoring. They're all at the ARCO monitoring. That's the entity stalking plane. All right, that's the P.O.C. that's engaging in violence. That's state action. All of that is state action. And these are psychopaths in engineer light trying to defame somebody else. They eat their own feces. Okay? I'm not gonna sit up and fight with somebody that eats their own feces. She's going to prison. They're being deported, and they're also being prosecuted as terrorists. And Ontario Veterinary Hospital is engaging in that criminal pattern of conduct. They're engaging in that together as an entity. This is P.O.C. Alrighty, this is the entity that's engaging in violence because they're being documented while they're conspiring your murder and gang stalking, parked in the engineer light. Their mental illness is evident in the environment while they're engaging in what is violent threats, vocalizing them, and also engaging in what is violence. And this masculine female that eats her own feces is engaging in that conduct while she's being investigated with the government that is gang stalking through her. That's what's relevant behind the violence that they're engaging in. This is all monitoring. They're all monitoring to that. This is the entity. These are the demons that are gang stalking. This is what Tracy Banks is engaging in. This is what Jason Fields, this is what the government is engaging in when they're gang stalking American citizens. The entity has no planes that are landing over here. They're monitoring to that documented act of violence right now. Edward James 22 Mary 84, and they're engaged in what is violence. You see how they're all focusing on me when she's the one engaging in violence? This is gang stalking. Gang stalking is committed in furtherance of murder. She's going to federal prison for physical violence upon conspiracy to commit murder, and doing so while she's engaging in surveillance on behalf of the state. Stalking in this alley right here, maintaining what is light activity. All right, that's the P.O.C. The entity is stalking by the Ontario Police and stalking by the Ontario International Airport and stalking by the people of the state. This pattern of conduct already documented the sunrise and the sunset, and they're sitting around here engaging in monitoring violence and engineer light, and the feces eaters themselves engaging in what is criminal defamation, okay? The entity that's engaging in that delusional behavior, they're going to be diagnosed with regard to that. That's the malice. That's the malice behind gang stalking. It is currently 6:21 p.m. Bethel congregation, they're gang stalking as well. They're engaging in this violence right here in relevant position. They're getting in and out of their cars, including the demons of the Lees, and they're gang stalking children, monitoring to this violence right inside of 536 North Euclid Avenue. They're right in this parking lot monitoring while she's been engaged in surveillance here, and they're pacing back and forth, molesting, monitoring, gang stalking together, engaging what is violence together. This P.O.C. Alrighty, the entity is engaging in what is also a threat, calling the Ontario Police as though she's going to engage in calling the police while they're all engaging in the pattern of conduct. They all committed physical violence together. Okay, that's P.O.C. That's the pattern of conduct. Alrighty, it is currently, I want to be clear, this is the entity, this is accumulation of federal charges. This is 6:22 p.m. This is the entity this is that impunity. They're going to be deported out of the country and they're going to be put in mental asylums. This is P.O.C. She's going to federal prison. See, these are the feces eaters that are engaging in that pattern of conduct, stalking in planes and helicopters and stalking as a whole population. This is not a veterinary hospital. This is a facilitating venue where they're engaging in state surveillance with the entity that has no airports that are landing over here, surveillance with the state, and the Ontario Police that are pacing over this building, monitoring to this ongoing violence. The government that's engaging in violence and defamation, harassment, threatening conduct, and they're all engaging in criminal defamation. Who is she calling? The police are already gang stalking. That's impossible light that you see there. While there, you listen to everything that she just stated, those are the mentally ill. That is a national security threat. Okay, that's P.O.C. You need to witness that violence that they're engaging because she's going to prison for it. And so are all the rest of the gang members. They're going to prison. This is group conduct, and they're going to prison together as well. P.O.C. It is currently 6:23 p.m. You're mindful of the entity that, again, they take in jest while they murder people, and they also find that funny as well. This is P.O.C. It is currently 6:23 p.m. Run from what? Run from what? This is P.O.C. This is criminal summoning. 1706919. What is going on? Did I? Or did they attack me?
I'm just asking if you got into an argument.
Why would you drive right past them and come toward me? Because they called you?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Yeah, she attacked me and it's on video.
Okay, can you explain to me what happened?
I just told you.
Okay, but walk me through how this happened.
They told you what happened. They told you what happened. Did they? Oh, well, she attacked me, the one with the orange hair. There's nothing complicated about it.
Okay, why did this happen?
What do you mean? If I attacked her, would you be asking those scientific questions or would you be arresting me for a battery?
I would be asking you what happened.
She put her hands on me.
Okay, I need more detail.
She put, if I were to hit you, you see this umbrella? She broke it and she pushed me repeatedly.
What started this issue?
Standing outside with my phone, like now.
Okay, so you were just standing outside of this business.
I can stand here just like she is.
Okay, hold on. I'm just asking you how.
Okay, you're not here helping. They engaged in battery. This is monitoring. And not only that, this is a psychopath who's monitoring and already knows what happened. They're engaged in violence together. The Ontario Police were stalking by helicopter. They're engaging in the pattern of conduct with the Ontario International Airport. And they're engaging in what is asking me when they already know the answer. This is an ongoing unlawful threat. This is the criminal summoning that they're engaging in under the light source. They're engaging in psychopathic, malicious behavior while they're monitoring right now. And they're monitoring when the entity engages in what is assault and battery. That's P.O.C. Asking what is so scientific and elaborate about a physical attack? Because if I had attacked her, the entity's not asking any questions. In fact, they make up information to engage in criminal summoning, which is what this is. P.O.C. Ontario Veterinary Hospital, they're engaging in what is criminal summoning with this demon. That's engaging in what is battery. All right, she's engaged in what is battery under all circumstances, and then you're asking me questions, is monitoring. This P.O.C. License plate 1706919. Vehicle 1129 and license plate 1675929. What's your name? Is that a tough question? What's your name? What is your name? You're the public servant. What's your name? It's a Jeopardy question. Is this trivia? You don't know your name? Silence in the engineer light. You already know the environment where they're monitoring, but they engaged in battery in the engineer light, and they are monitoring with the people of the state. Okay, and they're arriving pursuant to what is a threat to commit kidnapping as an entity that has no authority under the law. This is the P.O.C. Alrighty, you let me know where the law is broken by myself when she's putting her hands on me and breaking my property. Because she's admitting to you that she committed a battery. And this is all malicious because they're all monitoring together. This is why they're going to prison. Yeah, speak louder. What sharp object? I'm holding a sharp object. Is that what you said, liar? It was F my mom, and what else? It was F me B. What was all that you were so excitedly screaming about? Huh? When you were taking my phone and threw it? What were you talking? Did you tell him that part? When you took my property? Yes, you did, and you threw it across the parking lot. Did you tell him that? Okay, and she's also admitting that she committed a battery. So why aren't you telling me your name? Why not? D. Souza? Okay, that's what, you can't read your name, you can't tell me your name? You got it. Are you ashamed to speak your name? Are you breaking the law right now? Oh, you're not? You sure about that? Okay, that's why you don't recite your name when somebody asks you when you're fully in authority under the law? Oh, okay, you don't have to? All right, they also believe that they don't have to follow the Constitution as well. That's going to be addressed. Excuse me, would you like to give your name, officer? This is criminal summoning. This is all federal prison, all of them. The people of the state that are monitoring and the entity that's monitoring through the city of Ontario. This is P.O.C. They're monitoring together and they're engaged in the pattern of conduct when you already know, and they're arriving pursuant to what is monitoring after they're all excited, engaging what is physical violence together as one. D. Souza, I just asked you what's your name and you didn't want to have a conversation with me. Now you want to talk? You don't know my name? They don't want you here no more. I'm not there. I'm in the parking lot. This is P.O.C. This is the entity engaging in the pattern of conduct. This is all engineer light. While they're engaging what is reporting, while they're being summoned, this is federal prison for Souza and for the demons that are in the, this is the entity that engages in physical violence, and then they call the police when they engage in violence on behalf of the police. I want to be clear. Souza and this other state actor, let me get this demon's name. 1706919 is the vehicle 1129. They engage in a battery with the people of the state, whom they are engaging what is threatening and engaging what is battery together. It's one entity acting as one. And this is while I'm documenting, and the entity engages in what is physical violence. Remember, the entity is stalking by helicopter. These are psychopaths that are sitting here. Oh, what happened? In the engineer light. They're monitoring. They're monitoring, already knows what happened. Okay? That's P.O.C. This is federal prison. And the entity is engaging what is a battery. And these demons are admittedly engaging in that while they engage in criminal summoning, and the entity engages in kidnapping me when there's been no violation of the law. They're going to federal prison. This whole gang, this whole trio right here, this is federal prison. And Ontario Veterinary Hospital is sharing in what is battery and criminal summoning. Okay, that's P.O.C. They are going to federal prison because the entity is engaging what is targeting you, conspiring your murder, and you don't get justice until you get to federal court while they commit battery right now. While they commit kidnappings and of the sort right now, you're going to federal prison in the equation. Okay, that's P.O.C. It's currently 7. Hold on. It's 6:30 p.m. on the dot at the Ontario Veterinary Hospital. You want to give your name? You want to give your name? It's P.O.C. 1706919. This is D. Souza, who refused to give his name as well. I got it. And I have this this demon's image. And while they're engaging in what is speaking, there's nothing to talk about here. It's all criminal activity. And second of all, there's nothing to talk about. They're the ones that should be getting arrested for a battery. Okay? That's the pattern of conduct, though. That's the P.O.C. All right, Chevron, Bethel congregation. The entity, they're monitoring inside of the barber shop, they're monitoring in the hallway, they're monitoring at the veterinary hospital, they're monitoring at the ARCO, they're monitoring at Light, the parking lot, the downtown Ontario luxury apartments. All of these venues are engaging that P.O.C. together while she's committing battery as an entity. And the reason why I want you to see that physical violence that they're engaging in while the entity kidnaps me and engages in violence against me when I've committed no crime, they're going to federal prison, okay? Not stomping this demon out, this masculine looking demon with tattoos all over her neck. These are demons. And they're in the engineer light having the audacity to try to defend. You're not defaming me. Those are the demon possessed that are engaging in what is defamation. That's the signature. While the demons together tell themselves that they're not feces eaters. And then they're summoning the gang members of the Ontario police. This is the malice of that pattern of conduct. They're going to federal prison. This is P.O.C. This is what I was stating. With regard to Bethel congregation, they were monitoring with this demon, and as I document her license plate, this is all engineer light. They already know what happened. They're going to prison. 8ZQF441, this is the gang stalking pastor. They're monitoring while they're molesting. She's stalking in this this alleyway, and then they're walking, pacing in and out. They're monitoring together with the airport, with the Ontario police using helicopter. This is P.O.C. It is again 6:32 p.m. This is my shadows, all these shadows. Yeah, they're gang stalking together. That's the malice of the pattern of conduct.
(50427K3) molestation at F Street and Euclid Avenue on behalf of the state. BHG828. These are demons molesting with the Ontario Police Department. So they're pacing, so I'm gonna get all their license plate. 9LNK418 and 5JK8837. This is Ontario Police. P.O.C. The demon-possessed people of the state molesting with the Ontario Police as I document license plates. That's federal prison. They also committed battery on behalf of the police as well. That's the entity that's engaged in that. That was the Ontario Veterinary Hospital. Doing so, the airport, stalking, pacing, the entity stalking by helicopter, and then that entity engaging in what is battery while they're being documented for this gang stalking conduct. P.O.C. License plate. YEA390, that's an out-of-state license plate. P.O.C. (9:45 p.m.) Logged onto ARCO Wi-Fi network. The entity that engaged in what is battery. The two demons, one of them name is D. Souza, refusing to provide their identity while they're engaged in what is conspiracy to murder. They're gang stalking me with the people who committed battery on its behalf, literally stalking in the same video evidence by helicopter and commercial plane, serial flight, where the airport is stalking and the entity is sending helicopter as I'm logging onto Wi-Fi to upload all this evidence. Those two demons are going to prison. So are the demons that are engaging in battery and criminal summoning together. That was all of that together was gang violence as I document. The demon-possessed people of the state. And then the demons that are already stalking, exhibiting mental illness, asking things like, oh, what happened? What's your name? They're sitting there in the engineer light. The entity is stalking in the background by commercial plane and flying over while they're engaging in the violence by helicopter. And then they are arriving pursuant to that P.O.C. That's the entity that conspires murder and is engaging in what is stalking by helicopter at 9:47 p.m. That video evidence is going toward what is federal prison for that same gang stalking agency. P.O.C., because I want you to hear this. The demon that engaged in what is battery on video, they're all going to prison. P.O.C. It's 9:47 p.m. That is indeed Mike Lorenz that is engaging what is inflicting violence as an entity. The entity that's engaging in stalking me on behalf of that agency that is demon-possessed and mentally ill, stalking and then asking questions, the answer to which you already know, that is because you're engaging what is conspiracy to murder. That is an unintelligent system that I've broken down within the P.O.C., however, and they're stalking now while that evidence is being published on the internet. Those demons in the Ontario police vehicles are going to prison, and the demons that are engaging in battery, and all, I want to be clear, it's not just the demon that put her hands on me, the demons that calling on the phone, which is nothing other than Title 18
engaging in federal stalking. That whole gang, just like I stated in the video, they're going to federal prison. Now, what's also the bigger picture? Mike LORENZ is going to federal prison. American citizens end up murdered just like that, and then they summon the gang stalkers themselves, the gang members that are stalking right now by helicopter, who will arrive on a scene and claim that they're conducting an investigation about what happened to an American citizen that was being targeted by them. They're all going to federal prison. So is Jason Fields and Tracy Banks. Okay? This is the gang violence that they've been counting on, that they've been engaging in for years, while they've been lying on my character, defaming me, and I want to be clear, engaging what is battering me and harassing me and acting like a psychopath, asking questions that you know the answer to while you're stalking. That doesn't that doesn't successfully depict an American citizen as being somebody that's imagining anything. In fact, you're imagining that you're going anywhere other than prison. That includes Fields, that includes their co-defendant, Mike LORENZ, the demon that is stalking by helicopter at 9:47 p.m., flying over Starbucks, that committed kidnapping with that agency on July 4th, 2025. They're going to federal prison. This is an ongoing body of evidence which is speaking to a laundry list of those that have shared in this criminal system with that agency, including battery, like I documented tonight. And battery, why? Because they are being documented stalking while conspiring my murder. That's why you're stalking as a police department, and you're aware of exactly what happened while you're stalking me, and I'm publishing the evidence. That's the outward demonstration of severe mental illness, maniacal psychopaths who are stalking, and then in front of your face, oh, what happened? What's your name? Oh, okay. What's your name? What happened? Well, tell me what happened. I need to know what happened. What does that mean? While he's standing in Engineer Light, while the entity is stalking by commercial planes in the background, this is the entity standing at the location where I'm capturing the fake sun rising and setting. This is the demons that are stalking right now, that are standing in Engineered Light, engaging in surveilling the entire incident. They're going to federal prison, and they're going to be subject to mental examinations. And stalking by helicopter, that's the hallmark where that entity has all of that audacity, all of that laughing at the investigation. That's Mike LORENZ's laughter toward what is being engaged in this criminal conduct with no consequences. He's going to prison. And so is his co-conspirator that engaged in battery, and the co-conspirators that engaged in what is battery vicariously, arriving in Ontario police vehicles. So was the co-conspirator stalking me by helicopter as I'm publishing that evidence onto the Google Drive right now. It's currently 9:50 p.m. This is P.O.C. (9:50 p.m.) We're continuously recording because the entity is engaged in the same pattern. Those demons that she engaged in violence on behalf of this agency, stalking with this agency, and this agency is sharing in that violence together. And then the evidence is going up on the internet, and you're engaging in what is the ongoing criminal acts of obstruction of justice, psychopaths that are pacing all around me while and they're also psychopaths that engage in battery like this demon did as a gang member on behalf of that agency. That's being disbanded, and they're all going to prison. Every single last one of them, they're going to federal prison. It's 9:52 p.m. And in the image that I took earlier, you'll see the entity flying over the top of my head, stalking by helicopter, right where I'm standing, where I logged onto the ARCO Wi-Fi at 507 Ethucan Avenue, the Starbucks at E Street and Euclid. That's where they're stalking by helicopter, and that's where I resume recording, because that's where they also engage in what is pacing, flying in circles. All right, the ongoing tactic regarding what is proof that you're not only a stalker, but that you're a stalker that's keeping the evidence about you being a stalker under surveillance, and then you show up pursuant to criminal summoning, a tactic of a stalking agency, asking questions like a psychopath. That's in need of the mental examinations that everyone engaging in kidnapping with that agency is going to get. P.O.C. Don't forget what D. Rodriguez is doing at the bus stop, gang stalking me, and while the entity is engaging with a stalking under a fake sun. engaging in what is targeting. That's the entity that's obsessively stalking, doing so while wearing these uniforms. That's not law enforcement either. And this is not only is it criminal activity, this is criminal activity that is not even persuasively appearing as law enforcement, as I've stripped it down to bare bones stalking and surveillance and demon possession, demonic activity. Because this is nothing but that. These are demons. Mike Lorenz is going to federal prison for the mental illness of this agency that's been exposed as the demon-possessed, who are engaging in what is demonic activity, which is their criminal pattern of conduct regarding gang stalking in furtherance of murder. All right, this is what's behind the fake conservatorship. This is what's behind the fraudulent marriages. This is what's to me on paper, this is what's behind the defamation of my character. This is what's behind the theft of my money and property in court hearings that I had no parts in. This is what's behind the people of the state that are engaging in battery, the same people of the state that have engaged in criminal activity in my name, and I don't even know these demons. Why? Because it's pursuant to surveillance that the Ontario Police Department are a part of. And there is no iteration of this system that's going to exist without you spending time in prison, in substantial time in prison. That's Mike Lorenz, a feces-eating psychopath. He's going to prison for this conduct that the demons are accumulating for him right now, including the demon stalking in helicopter. They're going to report what's going on at the heliport. They're going to produce their own identity because they're going to prison. And the federal government is also, demons like Fields are going to federal prison for what they've been engaging in for years, including the fact that I'm sleeping at a bus stop, which is part of Jason Fields and Tracy Banks and the Ontario Police Department purpose in the first place, because they thought beforehand that didn't work out. Their witchcraft isn't working, and it didn't work out. In fact, it's relevant to what our damage is, so that this entity is engaging in what are things such as battery upon what is conspiracy to murder, which they're going to prison for. That's not going to aid in what is defaming my character. In fact, your purpose in defaming my character is a part of that conspiracy to commit murder. You're going to prison. All routes lead to federal prison, because that's where Fields is going. This battery document, he's going to prison. On Mike Lorenz, this battery, he's going to prison. The demons arriving in Ontario police vehicles, I'm uploading it onto the internet. The entity stalking by helicopter, ongoing terrorism harassment, they're going to federal prison, P.O.C. It's 9:55 p.m. This is where their mental illness is serving for what is their own demise. And the demons that, again, I am documenting what is lawlessness and impunity. These demons engage in violence, they commit murder, they engage in theft, they engage in fraud, they engage in all manner of criminal activity, and they laugh. They treat it as a joke. They treat it as though there are no consequences, and it's no wonder. Look at the entity's lawlessness, the Ontario Police. They're being disbanded, and I want to be clear, that whole gang is going to prison. The Ontario Veterinary Hospital, they were there inside of that office. They committed a phone call, admittedly engaging in what is communicating about their own criminal activity while I'm documenting it. And the entity, and remember the purpose, the entity makes up information about me to kidnap me while they admit to engaging criminal conduct through literally the iteration of criminal summoning, and the entity's engaging in what is monitoring me through it. Admittedly engaged in what is a battery for far less the entity has kidnapped me. Look at September 28, 2025. They're going to federal prison. It's 9:56 p.m. All right, stalking at the intersection. Molesting, just like I stated, they were molesting me at the intersection on behalf of the Ontario Police. And the moment I log onto Wi-Fi to upload the evidence, all those demons are stalking by helicopter. This sex offender's license plate, communication device in hand, 9 Paul Apple Bob 204, in a white Mercedes, stalking at the intersection on behalf of the Ontario Police, who's stalking in the sky space. P.O.C. This is exactly what the demons were doing when she committed battery. She is acting as a gang member that's acting as a group. And again, that license plate of those demons that are going to prison for engaging in violence on behalf of Mike Lorenz. These are hostile demons that are angry with regard to my investigation, angry with regard to my evidence, angry with regard to the way in which I address them truthfully as they're engaging in stalking me and monitoring my vagina, and being demons in doing so, gargoyles, feces eaters, diaper wearers, psychopaths, sex offenders, license 8XBF896, That's the blue Tesla. The entity engaging in what is molestation with impossible light, stalking in the path, stalking with the airport, with the Ontario police by helicopter in the same video, and then she's engaged in what is physical violence, which was also monitoring psychopathic demonic behavior in this video that I captured. You'll see the engineer light where the demons are engaging in physical violence. That's a violent method regarding the same pattern of conduct. And her license, Edward Jerry 22 Mary 84, that paper plate, while she's engaged in surveillance with the entity in real time at the and then engaging in what is violent. She's got tattoos all over her face, and this is the gang member that is part of the same gang as the Ontario Police Department. They're one gang. They are united with regard to the conspiracy to commit murder, and those gang members of the Ontario Police are being disbanded altogether. They are the cause for this lawlessness in Ontario. They are the reason and the necessity of deportation, massive deportation, and they're also the cause for what is this criminal activity, this violence that I'm subject to, because I am exposing it. And while I'm exposing it, you're going to prison for it. And there's nothing funny about that. The demons engaged in laughing about it. That's exactly why they're going to prison, because the federal government and this country is taking a very serious stance against terrorism, which the city of Ontario, the Ontario Police Department, the demon-possessed immigrants in this country, the people of the state, they take it very lightly. They don't care about terrorism. They think that it is entertainment. They think that this is exactly what the state of affairs should be. They think that law and order, they think that violating people's rights are a joke with no consequences. License plate 7ZXF042. P.O.C. It's 9:59 p.m. ARCO at 434 North Euclid Avenue also shares in that battery. Chevron 506 North Euclid Avenue shares in that battery. And obstruction of justice. That's what the Ontario Police arriving after that battery occurs is serving. Criminal summoning is a federal offense regarding and mandating federal prison. It mandates federal prison. This is how the police are gang stalking you while wearing uniforms, seeking to appear maliciously as engaging in the execution of duties of officers while they're engaging in what is stalking you. They're engaged in monitoring you. They're engaged in psychologically torturing you. They're engaged in what is threatening you while they are engaging in what is obstruction of justice while an ongoing investigation is underway. Criminal summoning is mandating federal prison. License CY82K80 paper. 7KKS048. P.O.C. They're monitoring with the Ontario Police. P.O.C. It's currently 10 p.m. on the dot. Ontario Police molesting with what is Chevron, a demon crossing path, doing so in the same alley where they commit a battery, while the entity does so to the audible activity of helicopter activity. This is mental illness. These are the demon-possessed that share mental illness and as they share in that criminal pattern of conduct together. The Ontario Police, D. Souza is mentally ill. You saw another psychopath's face. This is a pattern of conduct while they're stalking as an agency using helicopter. Combining that while the evidence is being uploaded. The entity's engaging in this and they're going to prison. So this is the entity that's engaging in what is the demon-possessed hamsters on the same wheel. Over and over and over, they're going to prison. This is the necessary result, prison. Okay, you put terrorists like Ontario Police and the people of the state, you put them in prison. You put them in mental wards and you put them in prison. Stalking with impossible light with the Ontario Police Department. License gang stalking at Gaston number 4, 8WFJ386, P.O.C. All right, more of the mentally ill, stalking with impossible light. All right, and this is the mental illness that engages in what is battery when they're being documented. They're mentally ill. They're going to be deported and put in asylums and prison. License Larry Wendy 775. Handicap, and they're doing so with the mentally ill that are gang stalking on the street. All that traffic, those are demons. This is at ARCO at 434 North Euclid Avenue. These are the people of the state that are mentally ill, the demon-possessed, and this is speaking to the threat that they pose. This is what is calling for martial law. Okay, this P.O.C. it's currently 10:46 p.m. Molestation with impossible light while I am logging onto the Wi-Fi again. They're monitoring on devices, so that's why they engage in the same pattern over and over again. But their pattern is mentally ill, okay? And the entity is still stalking by helicopter as well. This is P.O.C. The sex offenders who are the demon-possessed people of the state, gang stalkers, terrorists, those that have demonstrated in my investigation proving criminal surveillance is proving the necessity of martial law. The mentally ill that include the Ontario police that are being disbanded, their mental illness includes what is an ongoing fixation regarding sexual violence. The demon-possessed are engaging in sexual violence on behalf of Mike Lorenz, in the same way they're engaging in what is assault and battery on behalf of Mike Lorenz, who is obsessed with means of sexually violating someone. These demons are engaging in sexual assault and battery while they're molesting with, it's not even naturally occurring light activity, while they're monitoring as demons. This is what is wrong with the demons that are stalking in helicopter. It's because of their mind state. They're mentally ill. They are stalkers with engineered light while they're monitoring you. And they're engaging in criminal surveillance. And their mental illness is also psychopathic and maniacal. They resort to violence and sexual violence when they are challenged with regard to what is going to be federal prison. So this is the entity that's engaging in that violence while I'm exposing it, and I'm subject to it. And because I'm subject to it, Fields is going to prison, Lorenz is going to prison, Derek Williams is going to prison, Tracy Banks is going to prison. The demons that engage in it on behalf of this agency are going to federal prison. This is what the entity's doing all day inside of the library. All day. All they're doing is sitting around stalking me, and they're doing it on behalf of this gang leader, Mike Lorenz. This is not a police department. They're engaged in what is stalking by helicopter. So you're stating, based on what the entity is doing, you're stalking, okay? And then I'm maintaining my investigation, it's proven that you're stalking because you're not going to defame me. You could not defame a toilet seat, a dirty one. That's how psychotic these demons are. These gargoyles that eat their feces. You couldn't defame a toilet seat. The entity is engaging in this pattern of conduct, and you think that you're going to engage in what is keeping me from putting it on the internet? Because that's what they're doing with the helicopter activity. These are buffoons. You engage in it. You see this manly-looking female with tattoos on her face and her neck with regard to the demons that speak through her. And she's engaging in what is physical violence like she's some gangster, right? But you're stalking. You're stalking, and then you're scared that I'm going to put it on the internet. And the reason why you have this level of audacity, this ongoing zeal, is because the gang members themselves, the Ontario police, the sex offenders molesting me with impossible light as much as they possibly can, wanting to touch all over me, obsessed with my vagina, wanting to be next to me when I'm naked, wanting to be next to me when I'm sitting fully clothed at a computer, wanting to be next to me while I'm breathing, wanting to be next to me while I'm sleeping, want to be as close as possible. And they're also obsessively consumed with me telling everybody about it. Okay? This is the entity that resorts to violence, and the sex offender that's engaging in sexual violence on behalf of the Ontario Police. This is mental illness, license 9 Paul David Paul 712. This is gang violence for which Mike Lorenz is going to federal prison, and so is Jason Fields. Okay? I remain subject to this. I remain outside while this demon Fields and Banks, they've been living in my property, stealing, spending my money, and so have the demons of the Ontario Police Department. Imagine that. They're going to prison. They're going to federal prison. It is currently 10:56 p.m. This is P.O.C. License 9CZ 7984, I believe. Stalking with Ontario Police. And so is this third party stalking with Ontario Police. License 50627X3. That's 50427X3. P.O.C. Engaging in what is stalking with light. These are the demon-possessed that have already conceded to stalking me, so they engage in harassment when they're hostile because they've conceded to stalking. And this is also why mental illness is part of the criminal prosecution of the demon-possessed. Okay, they're going to be deported out of the country with regard to the appetite for violence, with regard to what is the stalking with light, which is what the entity is doing at Apostolica Prophetica Iglesia. Those demons are being deported. They're engaging in what is gang stalking with the Ontario Police, molestation with impossible light with these demons, license plate, DIVXVIO, sex offender, molesting from across the street with impossible light activity, doing so on behalf of the Ontario Police that committed assault and battery, for which that agency is being disbanded. Okay, POC. This is gang violence by that Ontario Police Department that are demons. They're all demons. And the entity that's engaged in sexual assault and battery together again, doing so at 602A Euclid Avenue, that entire venue. They live there, gang stalking with the demons that are parked all outside of their apartment, monitoring together. They're engaged in sexual assault and battery in concert with also the Ontario Police, who are stalking by helicopter while the ongoing gang violence is underway by a whole bunch of demons all together. They also did that while they were engaged in what is battery. This is, again, a very wicked and criminal conduct, which is demonic, all at the same time. The demon-possessed that are satiated by violence, this is what they do when they murder people, and you don't know anything about state surveillance. You don't know anything about being targeted, okay? This is the entity that's engaging in what is demented behavior while they're being documented, and they're doing so because they are proven to be stalking. License plate 5 POM 905, a demon-possessed sex offender, conspiring murder, stalking with the Ontario Police, sharing in sexual assault and battery. Doing so at the same, again, the Iglesia Apostolica Profetica, that's 115 North F Street, where they're going to be subject to what is a lot of deportations. So is the entity that is gang stalking altogether. But this over here, they have the this neighborhood that's catering to the immigrant population. They're all gang stalkers. They're going to be subject to deportation. They are engaged in regular sexual violence. I'm documenting it every night. They're parking all around the venue, engaging in sexual violence with that community that's engaging in that P.O.C. that have already shown that they even include their children. The gang stalking immigrants employ and raise their children to engage in terrorizing American citizens. They're being deported, and the entity is doing so with the Ontario Police Department. Also engaging in what is sexual assault and battery. Engaging in terrorism by stalking with impossible light while you're parked at the Iglesia across the street. The Iglesia that's subject to what is a raid for deporting immigrants. License 8, Robert Nancy Edward 995. Engaging in what is retaliation with the Ontario Police. Doing so on behalf of the Ontario Police, doing so as the immigrant population as well, while that immigrant population, that neighborhood full of immigrants are engaging in terrorizing and stalking and monitoring me with that Ontario Police. And I want to be clear, the immigrant population engaged in what is assault and battery today. They're being deported. All right, this is gang violence, and the immigrants are a part of it. The Ontario Police are targeting through the immigrant population that engage in those documented acts of violence with impunity, laughing at violence that they commit in the United States. You're not staying in this country either. So she was laughing on behalf of all the deportees that are not going to be missed in this country. Neither will their children. They're all being shipped out. All right, it is currently 11:04 p.m. This is P.O.C.